The Starship Horizon's gate drifted through the darkness of deep space, its hull gleaming under the distant light of a red giant star. Captain Taman Park sat in his command chair, watching the endless void through the main view screen. The ship had been exploring this sector for 3 weeks now, mapping stars and planets that no human had ever seen before. Taman was a tall man with tired eyes and short black hair going gray at the temples. He had commanded the Horizon's gate for 5 years, and in that time, they had discovered 12 new star systems. It was quiet work, sometimes boring, but Taman liked it that way. Quiet meant safe. At the engineering station, Yoonji Kim worked on her displays, checking the ship's systems. She was small and focused, always worried about some minor problem with the engines. Taman trusted her completely. If Yoonji said the ship was running well, then it was running well. Doyeon Choi sat at the weapons console, though there was rarely anything for him to shoot at. He was young and eager, always hoping for some excitement. Taman sometimes worried that Doyeon would get his wish someday. The medical bay was run by Hana Lee, who was currently in the crew quarters playing cards with the off-duty staff. She was good at keeping morale high during the long months in deep space. Everything was normal. Everything was peaceful. Then the alarm sounded. Taman sat up straight. Report. The communications officer, Mina Kang, touched her earpiece and frowned. Sir, we're receiving a distress signal. It's coming from the asteroid field ahead. What kind of signal? Taman asked. Standard emergency beacon. Says they're a colony transport with engine failure. They're requesting immediate assistance. Taman looked at the view screen. The asteroid field was visible as a dark cluster against the stars. It was dense and dangerous, not the kind of place a transport ship should be flying through. Can you identify the ship? He asked. Mina shook her head. The signal is weak. There's a lot of interference from the asteroids. Taman thought for a moment. They were deep in unexplored space, far from any known colonies. What would a transport ship be doing out here? But he also knew that ships sometimes took strange routes to save time or avoid patrols. And if people needed help, he had a duty to assist. Jiho, set a course for the signal, Taman ordered. Slow and careful. I don't want to hit any rocks. Navigator Jiho Nam nodded and began plotting their approach. The Horizon's gate turned smoothly and headed toward the asteroid field. As they got closer, Doyeon studied his sensor readouts. Sir, I'm detecting a debris field near the signal location. Looks like metal fragments, possibly from a damaged ship. Life signs? Taman asked. Negative, sir, but there could be survivors in shielded compartments. The asteroids are blocking detailed scans. Yoonji spoke up from her station. Captain, I don't like this. Why would a transport be out here? I was thinking the same thing, Taman admitted, but we can't ignore a distress call. Stay alert, everyone. The ship entered the asteroid field, moving carefully between the spinning rocks. Some of the asteroids were as large as mountains, others no bigger than houses. Jiho navigated with skill, keeping them safe from collisions. They were almost at the signal source when Doyeon's console erupted with warnings. Captain, multiple contacts all around us. Taman's blood went cold. Where? Everywhere. 6 ships decloaking. They're surrounding us. The view screen changed, showing 6 massive warships appearing out of nowhere. They were ugly things, covered in weapons and armor plating. Each one was twice the size of the Horizon's gate. Battle stations, Taman shouted. Shields up. Mina, try to hail them. Red lights flashed throughout the ship as the crew rushed to their positions. In the medical bay, Hana heard the alarm and immediately began preparing for casualties. Mina worked her console frantically. No response to our hails, sir. They're locking weapons on us. Doyeon's hands flew over his controls. Shields are up. Weapons ready. Sir, I'm reading their configuration. I don't recognize the design. These aren't human ships. Taman felt his stomach drop. Not human. They had encountered alien life and it was hostile. One of the enemy ships moved closer. A voice came through the speakers, harsh and clicking, run through a translation program. Human vessel, you are surrounded. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Surrender and you will be processed quickly. Resist and you will be destroyed. Taman stood from his chair. This is Captain Taman Park of the Earthship Horizon's Gate. We responded to a distress call. We mean no harm. Why are you threatening us? The alien voice laughed, a sound like breaking glass. The distress call was bait, human. You fell for it perfectly. I am Commander Thexus of the Vrin Collective. Your ship and everything in it now belongs to us. This is your only warning. Surrender. Taman looked around his bridge. His crew stared back at him, waiting for orders. They were trapped, surrounded by 6 warships. The smart thing would be to surrender, to hope the aliens kept their word about processing them quickly. But Taman had studied Earth's history. He knew what happened to people who surrendered to pirates and raiders. They were sold as slaves, or killed, or worse. Captain, Yunji said quietly. What do we do? Taman sat back down in his chair. He made his decision. Mina, send a message back. Tell them no. Sir? Mina looked shocked. Tell them we will not surrender. We will not power down our weapons. And if they want our ship, they'll have to take it. Mina swallowed hard, then transmitted the message. There was a long silence. Then Commander Thexus spoke again, and this time there was no laughter in his voice. You choose death then, so be it. The channel closed. Doyen checked his weapons. Sir, they're charging their guns. I see it, Taman said calmly. Yunji, how are our shields? Holding at maximum, but sir, we can't withstand fire from 6 ships. We'll see about that. Doyun, prepare all weapons. Don't fire until I give the order. Yes, sir. Taman watched the enemy ships on the view screen. They were positioning themselves, getting ready to disable the Horizon's Gate without destroying it. They wanted the ship intact. That was good. It meant they would be careful with their first shots, and that carefulness would be their mistake. All crew, this is the captain, Taman said into the ship-wide intercom. We are about to enter combat with hostile forces. I won't lie to you. The odds are against us, but we are humans, and humans don't quit. We fight, we survive, and we protect each other. Battle stations, everyone. Let's show these aliens what happens when they pick a fight with Earth. Throughout the ship, the crew responded. They were scared, but they were ready. On the bridge, Taman watched the enemy ships move into position. His hands gripped the armrests of his chair. Here they come, Doyen said. The first energy bolts flashed across space, bright and deadly, heading straight for the Horizon's Gate. The battle had begun, and the Vrin Collective was about to learn that humanity was not easy prey. They were about to learn that some species, when cornered, became the most dangerous things in the universe. They were about to learn what it meant to fight humans. None of them would live long enough to regret their mistake. The energy bolts hit the shields of the Horizon's Gate like hammers striking an anvil. The entire ship shook from the impact. Lights flickered on the bridge and warning alarms screamed from every console. Shields holding at 80%, Yunji called out, her fingers dancing across her controls. But they're concentrating fire on our engine section. They want to cripple us, not destroy us, Taman nodded. The aliens wanted their ship as a prize. That gave him an advantage. Doyen, target the lead ship. Fire kinetic missiles full spread. Doyen looked confused for a second. Kinetic missiles, sir? Not energy weapons? You heard me, kinetics, fire now. Doyen pressed the firing controls. 6 missiles launched from the Horizon's Gate. Simple, solid projectiles with chemical rockets. They were old technology, the kind of weapons Earth had used centuries ago. Most modern ships used lasers and plasma cannons. On the Vrin flagship, Commander Thexus watched the human missiles approaching. His tactical officer reported the launch with amusement. They're firing solid projectiles, Commander. Primitive chemical rockets. Thexus clicked his mandibles in what passed for a Vrin laugh. These humans are even more backward than we thought. Point defense systems will handle those easily. But the Vrin point defense was designed to shoot down energy weapons and smart missiles that could dodge. These human missiles flew in simple straight lines, too fast and too stupid to evade. The Vrin computers tried to target them, but the calculations were wrong. The defense lasers fired at where a smart missile would be, not where these dumb rockets actually were. Two missiles slammed into the lead Vryn ship. The shields, designed to disperse energy, did almost nothing against solid matter moving at tremendous speed. The projectiles punched through the hull like bullets through paper. Explosions bloomed across the enemy ship's surface. One missile destroyed the main weapon battery. The other tore through 3 decks before exploding inside the ship. A second Vryn ship took a direct hit to its engine section. The missile penetrated the reactor shielding, and the entire back half of the ship vanished in a ball of white fire. On the bridge of the Horizon's gate, the crew watched in shocked silence as 2 enemy ships were crippled in seconds. Direct hits, Doyen reported, his voice shaking with excitement. 2 ships heavily damaged. One is breaking apart. Taman allowed himself a small smile. Mina, are they saying anything? Mina listened to the enemy communications which her computer was translating. Sir, they're in chaos. They're asking each other what happened. I think they've never fought anyone who uses kinetic weapons before. Good, let's keep them confused. Jiho, I need an emergency jump. Plot coordinates to put us in the center of their formation. Jiho turned pale. Sir, a micro-jump? Inside the asteroid field? That's suicide. If we miscalculate by even a few meters, I know the risks. Can you do it? Jiho took a breath, then nodded. Yes, sir. Plotting now. Unji leaned over to Taman. Captain, even if Jiho's calculations are perfect, jumping this close to massive objects is incredibly dangerous. The gravitational stress could tear us apart. I'm counting on the Vryn not expecting it, Taman said. That's why it'll work. Unji, can the ship handle it? Unji checked her readouts. The jump drive was running hot from their recent arrival in the system, but it was still functional. Maybe, probably, I think so. Good enough. Prepare for jump on my mark. The Vryn ships were recovering from their shock. Commander Thexus roared orders at his fleet. Close formation. Overwhelm them with numbers. Don't let them use those primitive weapons again. The 4 remaining functional Vryn ships moved toward the Horizon's gate, firing as they came. Energy bolts hammered the human shields. This time the Vryn weren't being careful. They were angry. Shields at 40%, Yunji reported. We can't take much more of this. We won't have to. Jiho, jump now. Jiho hit the controls. Reality twisted. For a moment, everyone on the bridge felt like they were being pulled in every direction at once. The view screen showed impossible colors, stars that existed in places stars shouldn't be. Then the universe snapped back to normal. The Horizon's gate was now in the center of the Vryn formation, surrounded by enemy ships on all sides. But now those ships were facing each other and the human ship was between them. All weapons, fire, Taman commanded. Doyen unleashed everything the Horizon's gate had. Railguns sent metal slugs through space at a significant fraction of light speed. Laser batteries burned across the void. Missiles streaked toward the confused Vryn ships. The aliens tried to return fire, but they were in each other's way. One Vryn ship fired at the Horizon's gate and missed, hitting another Vryn ship instead. Explosions rippled across that ship's hull. Target the damaged ships first, Taman ordered. Finish what we started. The Horizon's gate spun in place, presenting different weapon batteries to different targets. The crew worked with smooth efficiency, each person knowing exactly what to do. They had trained for combat scenarios, but none of them thought they would actually need it. A Vryn ship exploded as its reactor went critical. Another lost power completely, drifting dead in space. A third tried to escape, but Doyen's missiles caught it, blowing off its engines. In 90 seconds of brutal close-range combat, the human ship had destroyed or disabled 5 of the 6 Vryn warships. Only Commander Thexus's flagship remained functional, and it was heavily damaged from the friendly fire incident. Sir, the last ship is trying to run, Doyen reported. Let them go, Taman said. Mina, can you jam their communications? Already on it, sir. They can't send any messages, but Taman was wrong. The Vryn had better communication systems than he realized. Even through the jamming, a brief burst transmission got through to deep space before Mina could block it completely. On the bridge, none of the humans knew about that transmission. They were too busy dealing with the immediate crisis. Damage report, Taman ordered. Yunji scanned her readouts. Hull breaches on decks 4 and 7. We lost 2 shield generators. The jump drive is offline and will need at least 4 hours to repair. Multiple injuries reported throughout the ship. Casualties? Hana reports 5 people seriously injured, but no deaths. She's handling it. Taman felt relief flood through him. They had survived. Against 6 warships, against impossible odds, they had survived. Sir, the remaining enemy ship is powering up its weapons, Doyen said. They're turning around. Taman watched as Commander Thexus's flagship came about, bearing down on them. The alien ship was damaged, but it was still twice their size and still armed. One last fight then, Taman said. Doyen, do we have any nukes left? Doyen checked his inventory. 2 nuclear torpedoes, sir. But regulations say... Regulations are for situations where both sides are following the same rules, Taman interrupted. These aliens ambushed us with a fake distress call. They wanted to capture us and sell us as slaves. I'd say that means we can use whatever weapons we have. Arm the nukes. Doyen hesitated for only a second, then began the arming sequence. Nuclear weapons were forbidden except in total war scenarios. But this felt like total war. Torpedoes armed and ready, sir. Fire both. Let's end this. 2 sleek missiles launched from the horizon's gate. They weren't fancy or smart. They were just nuclear bombs with rocket engines. The same basic design humans had used for hundreds of years. On the Vryn flagship, the tactical officer detected them immediately. Commander, the humans have launched nuclear weapons. Fission-based, low yield. Our shields will easily contain the blast. Thexus was confident again. Let them waste their weapons. Maintain course. Prepare to ram them. The torpedoes closed the distance in seconds. They detonated one after another, 2 bright stars blooming in the darkness. The Vryn shields held against the explosions, just as predicted. But nobody on the alien ship had considered the electromagnetic pulse that came with nuclear detonations. Every electronic system on the Vryn flagship died instantly. Lights went out. Computers crashed. The ship's reactor, no longer controlled by its safety systems, automatically shut down to prevent a meltdown. The massive warship went dark and silent, tumbling through space with no power and no control. On the horizon's gate, the crew watched the dead ship drift past them. All enemy vessels neutralized, Doyen reported quietly. Taman slumped in his chair. His hands were shaking. Good work, everyone. Mina, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we've encountered hostile aliens. Send them all our sensor data and tactical information. Yes, sir. Yunji, how long until we can jump out of here? At least 4 hours, Captain. The drive needs to cool down and I need to repair the damaged systems. Taman nodded. 4 hours. They would be sitting ducks if more enemy ships showed up, but there was nothing they could do about it. All hands, this is the captain, he announced. The immediate threat is over. Well done, everyone. Now we repair, we recover, and we prepare in case they send reinforcements, and someone get Medical Officer Hana whatever supplies she needs. The bridge crew relaxed slightly, though they kept watching their sensors for any new contacts. They had won the first battle. But Taman had a sick feeling in his stomach that this was just the beginning. Somewhere in deep space, Commander Thexus's distress call was racing toward the Vryn fleet. Help was coming, and the Horizon's Gate would still be here when it arrived. In the medical bay, Hanali worked without stopping. 5 people lay on beds, injured from the battle. Burns, broken bones, and 1 severe head injury. She moved from patient to patient, her hand steady despite the chaos of the last hour. A young engineer named Junho had a piece of metal embedded in his shoulder. Hana carefully removed it while he gritted his teeth against the pain. You're doing great, she told him. Just a few more seconds. Did we win? Hunyo asked. We're still alive. I call that winning. She finished treating Junho and moved to the next patient. Her medical training had been intense, preparing her for disasters and combat injuries. She never thought she would actually need those skills, but she was grateful for them now. The intercom crackled. Medical bay, this is the captain. Status report. Hana touched the comm panel. All injuries are stable, sir. No casualties. I can have most of them back to light duty in a few hours. Good work, doctor. Keep me updated. Hana returned to her patients. The ship shook occasionally as Yunji's repair teams moved equipment through the corridors. But the worst was over, or so she thought. On the bridge, Taman was studying the tactical display when Doyen made a discovery. Captain, I've been analyzing the wreckage of the destroyed enemy ships. I'm detecting something strange. What kind of strange? Their communication systems were still active for several seconds after we started jamming them. I think they got a message out before we could stop them. Taman felt his blood run cold. What kind of message? A distress call. Just like the one they used to trick us. Mina checked her own systems. Sir, Doyen is right. I detected a brief transmission burst, but by the time I located it, the signal had already been sent. I'm sorry, Captain. Taman waved off her apology. Not your fault. They had better communications than we expected. The question is, who did they call? Based on the signal strength and direction, Mina said, I'd say they were calling other Vryn ships. The message went toward the galactic core where most of the stars are. How long until help arrives? Mina calculated. If they have ships within 100 light years and those ships can travel at the same speed as the ones we fought, I'd estimate 6 hours. Maybe less. Taman looked at Yunji. How long until we can jump? 4 hours minimum. And that's if everything goes perfectly. They had a 2-hour window. If the repairs took longer or if the enemy ships arrived sooner, they would be trapped. Then we work fast, Taman decided. Yunji, take whoever you need. Get that jump drive working. Doyen, I want you to go through the wreckage. See if we can salvage any weapons or technology. We might need it. Yes, sir. Jiho, plot multiple jump routes out of this system. I want options. And Mina, keep scanning for incoming ships. The moment you detect anything, I want to know about it. The crew scattered to their tasks. Taman remained on the bridge watching the tactical display. 6 Vryn ships floated dead in space around them, testament to the battle they had won. But winning one battle meant nothing if they lost the next one. 3 hours passed. Yunji and her team worked miracles, pulling components from damaged systems and rerouting power. The jump drive slowly came back online. In the wreckage field, Doyen used remote drones to scan the destroyed Vryn ships. Most of the technology was too damaged or too alien to be useful, but he found something interesting. Captain, I've located the Vryn flagship, the one we hit with the EMP. What about it? It's not destroyed, just dead in space. And I'm detecting life signs, faint but definitely there. Taman considered. They could leave the aliens to die in their dead ship. Nobody would blame him. These were the same aliens who had tried to capture and enslave his crew. But leaving people to die in space went against everything Taman believed in. Mina, hail the Vryn ship. See if anyone responds. Mina sent the signal. For a long moment, there was no response. Then a weak, distorted voice came through. Human ship, this is Commander Thexus. Our power systems are offline. We have no life support. We are dying. You tried to kill us, Taman said flatly. Why should I help you? There was a pause. I have information. About my people. About other species in the galaxy. I will trade this information for our lives. Taman thought about it. Information about aliens, about the galaxy, about what was out there would be valuable. More valuable than revenge. Stand by, he told Thexus. Then he muted the channel. Doyen, can we rescue them safely? Yes, sir. Their weapons are offline. They're helpless. Then let's bring them aboard. But keep them under guard. I want security teams with weapons at all times. 30 minutes later, the surviving Vryn were brought onto the Horizon's gate. There were 12 of them, including Commander Thexus. They looked like giant insects with hard shells and multiple limbs. Their eyes were large and dark, and their mouths clicked when they spoke. Hana treated their injuries without comment. When one of the Vryn asked why she was helping them, she simply said, "Because you're hurt and I'm a doctor." The Vryn seemed confused by this answer. Commander Thexus was brought to the bridge under guard. Security Officer Wu Jinsong stood nearby with a rifle, watching the alien carefully. Thexus looked around the human bridge with his dark eyes. You have primitive technology, but you fight well. My superiors will want to study you. Your superiors can try, Taman said. But first, you're going to tell me everything. Who are the Vryn? What do you want? And why did you attack us? Thexus clicked his mandibles. The Vryn Collective are hunters and traders. We find new species and take what we want. Ships, technology, people. We sell them to others in the galaxy. You're slavers, Taman said, disgust in his voice. We are survivors. The galaxy is large and full of weak species. We are not weak. You lost to one human ship. Thexus's mandibles twitched. You fight like no species we have encountered. Most civilizations follow rules. They signal their strength, they negotiate, they follow conventions. You did none of these things. You used primitive weapons in ways we did not expect. You jumped your ship into suicide positions. You deployed weapons of mass destruction without hesitation. You attacked us without provocation, Taman said. What did you expect? I expected you to surrender. All species surrender when they are outmatched. Then you don't know humans very well. Thexus studied Taman. I am learning. Tell me, Captain, why did you rescue us? We are your enemies. In Vryn culture, Defeated enemies are left to die. In human culture, we have something called mercy. Even our enemies deserve a chance to live once the fighting is over. This makes no sense. You are warriors and healers at the same time. You are violent and compassionate. What kind of species are you? The kind you shouldn't have attacked, Taman said. Now tell me about the message you sent. Who's coming? Thexus hesitated, then spoke. I sent a distress call to the Vryn battle fleet. 30 warships led by High Commander Vreskis. They will arrive to find you still here, and they will destroy you. Vreskis does not show mercy, and he does not understand failure. Taman felt his stomach drop. 30 ships. There was no way they could fight 30 ships. When will they arrive? He asked. Thexus calculated. They were 4 hours away when I sent the message. That was 3 hours ago. They will be here in 1 hour, perhaps less. Taman turned to Yunji. Tell me you have good news. Yunji looked sick. The jump drive is almost ready, but I need another 30 minutes, and that's optimistic. They didn't have 30 minutes. They had maybe an hour before 30 Vryn warships arrived, and the Horizon's Gate would still be trapped in the asteroid field. Options, Taman demanded. What are our options? Jiho spoke up. Sir, we could try to jump now, but with the drive not fully repaired, we might end up anywhere. We could materialize inside a star, or in deep space light years from any system. Better than being captured, Taman said. There is another option, Yunji said slowly. We could stay and fight. Everyone on the bridge stared at her. Fight 30 warships? Doyen said. That's suicide. Maybe, Yunji agreed. But we're in an asteroid field. We could use the environment. Set traps, make them work for every meter. We held off 6 ships. Maybe we can hold off 30 long enough to complete repairs and escape. Taman looked at his crew. They were tired, scared, and injured, but they were also determined. They had survived the impossible once already. All right, he said. We'll make our stand here. Unji, you have 30 minutes to get that drive working. Doyen, I want every weapon we have armed and ready. Jiho, find us the best defensive position in this asteroid field, and somebody get those Vryn prisoners locked up somewhere secure. As the crew rushed to their stations, Thexus spoke up. Captain, you cannot win this battle. 30 ships will overwhelm you. Probably, Taman agreed, but we're going to make them regret attacking us. And who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky again. There is no luck in war, Thexus said. Only strength. Then watch and learn, Taman told him. Because you're about to see what human strength really looks like. Mina's console beeped. Sir, I'm detecting multiple jump signatures. They're here. On the view screen, space began to ripple and tear. One by one, 30 massive Vryn warships dropped out of hyperspace, filling the void with their dark, threatening shapes. The fleet had arrived, and the Horizon's Gate was still there, waiting for them. Taman gripped the arms of his chair. Here we go again. All hands battle stations. Let's show them what happens when you corner a human. High Commander Vreskis stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring at the view screen in disbelief. The debris field before him told a story he didn't want to believe. 6 Vryn warships destroyed or disabled, and in the center of it all, one small human vessel, damaged but still functional. Scan that ship, he ordered his tactical officer. I want to know everything about it. The tactical officer worked his console. Sir, it's a small exploration vessel. Crew of approximately 50. Moderate weapons for its size, but nothing that should have been able to defeat 6 of our ships. Vreskis' claws dug into the armrest of his chair. Commander Thexus had been one of his best officers, and now his ship floated dead in space along with 5 others. The humans had done this. One small ship had destroyed an entire raiding party. Open a channel to the human vessel, Vreskis commanded. On the Horizon's Gate, Mina received the incoming transmission. Sir, the lead enemy ship is hailing us. Put it through, Taman said. A new alien face appeared on the view screen. This Vryn was larger than Thexus, with scars across its shell and eyes that burned with cold intelligence. I am High Commander Vreskis of the Vryn Collective, the alien said. I see the wreckage of my ships. I see that you have defeated them. This is impressive, for a species we have never encountered before. We didn't want to fight, Taman replied. Your people attacked us. We defended ourselves, yes, I understand. Commander Thexus was overconfident. He underestimated you. I will not make that mistake. Vreskis leaned forward. You are surrounded by 30 warships. Your vessel is damaged. Your weapons are depleted. You cannot win this battle. Surrender now, and I promise you will be treated fairly. Continue to resist, and I will destroy your ship and everyone on it. Taman felt the weight of the decision pressing down on him. 30 ships. There was no trick, no clever tactic that could beat those odds. If they fought, they would die. But if they surrendered, they would be prisoners. Slaves. Everything Thexus had told him about the Vryn made it clear what happened to captured species. Captain, Unji said quietly, what do we do? Taman thought about his crew. About Unji and her constant worry over the engines. About Doyen and his eagerness. About Hana and her kindness. About all 50 people who trusted him to make the right choice. He made his decision. High Commander Vreskis, Taman said calmly, you attacked us without provocation. You tried to capture us and enslave us. You chose to make us your enemy. Now you'll learn what that means. We will not surrender. We will fight you with everything we have. And when this is over, you'll wish you had left us alone. Vreskis stared at him for a long moment. Then he spoke, and there was something like respect in his voice. You are brave, human. Foolish, but brave. I will give you one more chance. Surrender now. No, Taman said simply. Vreskis nodded slowly. Then you will die with honor. Attack formation. Destroy that ship. The channel closed. The 30 Vryn warships began moving into position. On the bridge of the Horizon's gate, the crew watched death approaching. Unji, how long? Taman asked. 20 minutes. Maybe 15 if I push it. 20 minutes. They had to survive for 20 minutes against 30 warships. Doyen, remember those wrecked Vryn ships floating out there? Yes, sir. Can you overload their reactors remotely? Doyen's eyes widened. Yes, sir. It'll take a few minutes to hack their systems, but I can do it. Then do it. Turn them into mines. Unji, I need you to give Doyen access to your engineering codes. He'll need them to trigger the reactor overloads. Unji transferred her codes. Doyen began working, his fingers flying across his console. Jiho spoke up. Captain, I found a good defensive position. There's a cluster of large asteroids 2 kilometers from here. If we position ourselves in the center, the enemy ships will have to come at us from limited angles. Take us there. Best speed. The Horizon's gate moved deeper into the asteroid field. The Vryn fleet followed, spreading out to surround them. Sir, I'm ready, Doyen said. I've hacked 3 of the wrecked ships. Their reactors are set to overload on my command. Wait for my signal. The Vryn fleet moved closer. They were being careful this time, not rushing in like Thexus had. They formed a net around the asteroid cluster, cutting off all escape routes. They're in position, Mina reported. Doyen now. Doyen triggered the overloads. 3 Vryn wrecks exploded simultaneously, their reactors going critical. The explosions caught 5 Vryn ships that were too close. 2 were destroyed instantly. 3 more were heavily damaged. The Vryn fleet scattered, suddenly wary of the wreckage around them. Their formation broke apart. Fire everything, Taman commanded. The Horizon's gate unleashed its remaining weapons. Missiles, railguns, and lasers reached out across space. 2 more Vryn ships were hit, though neither was destroyed. But the humans had surprised the Vryn again. That was worth something. High Commander Vreskis roared orders at his fleet. Reform, don't let them trick you. There are only so many wrecks they can explode. Close in and crush them. The Vryn ships advanced again, firing as they came. Energy bolts hammered the Horizon's gate from multiple directions. The shields flared and buckled. Shields failing, Unji reported. Hull breaches on decks 3 and 5. Seal those sections, Taman ordered. Jiho, use the asteroids for cover. Keep us moving. The Horizon's gate dodged between the massive space rocks, using them as shields. Vryn weapons blasted apart asteroids, sending fragments flying in all directions. Some of those fragments hit Vryn ships, causing minor damage. It was a desperate game of hide and seek, and the humans were losing. Sir, we've lost main weapons, Doyen reported. Only 2 missile tubes still functional. Then use them wisely. A Vryn ship rounded an asteroid, weapons charging. Doyen launched his last 2 missiles. One missed. The other hit the enemy ship's bridge, and the warship spun out of control, crashing into an asteroid. That's it, Doyen said quietly. We're out of ammunition. The Horizon's gate had nothing left to fight with. They could only run and hide among the asteroids, waiting for either the jump drive to come online or the Vryn to finally corner them. Unji, please tell me you have good news, Taman said. 10 minutes, Captain. The drive is charging. 10 minutes. It might as well have been 10 hours. Then Mina gasped. Sir, new contacts. Multiple ships jumping into the system. More Vryn? Taman asked, defeated. No, sir. Different configuration. I'm reading 12 ships and they're broadcasting on open channels. They're hailing both us and the Vryn fleet. On the view screen, the new ships appeared. They were sleek and graceful, nothing like the brutal Vryn warships. They moved with purpose, positioning themselves between the Horizon's Gate and the Vryn fleet. A new voice came through the speakers, this one calm and measured. This is Ambassador Kyther of the Pelthian species, representing the Council of Aligned Worlds. All hostile actions will cease immediately. This system is now under Council protection. High Commander Vreskis responded. The Council has no authority here. This is Vryn territory. This system is unclaimed space, Kyther replied, and the ship you are attacking belongs to a species under Council observation. The humans have not yet been contacted officially, but they are protected by Council law. Your attack violates that law. We claim them first, Vreskis argued. Slavery and piracy are not recognized as legal claims by the Council. You will withdraw immediately, or you will be designated as hostile and dealt with accordingly. Taman listened to this exchange in confusion. Council? Protected? What were they talking about? Vreskis seemed to be considering his options. His fleet still outnumbered the Council ships, but he had already lost several vessels and the humans had proven dangerous. Finally, he spoke. Very well, Ambassador. We withdraw. But mark this, humans. He turned his attention to the Horizon's Gate. We will remember you. The Vryn do not forget those who kill our people. We will meet again. The Vryn fleet turned and jumped away, vanishing into hyperspace. Only then did Taman allow himself to breathe. They had survived. Against all odds, they had survived. Sir, the Council ships are requesting permission to dock, Mina said. Taman looked down at his uniform. It was stained with blood and soot. The bridge was damaged, sparking in places. They looked like they had been through a war. Because they had. Permission granted, Taman said. Let's find out who our rescuers are. Ambassador Kythar was not what Taman expected. The Pelthian was tall and slender, with blue skin and large eyes that seemed to hold ancient wisdom. When the ambassador stepped onto the damaged bridge of the Horizon's Gate, those eyes took in everything with a single glance. Captain Taman Park, Kythar said, the translation device making the alien's voice sound almost human. I apologize for the delayed intervention. We came as quickly as we could once we detected the Vryn attack. Taman stood to greet the ambassador, though his legs were shaking with exhaustion. You saved our lives. Thank you. Kythar looked around the bridge at the damaged consoles and injured crew. No, Captain. You saved your own lives. We merely prevented the Vryn from finishing what you had already survived. I have never seen a single ship hold off 30 warships for so long. We got lucky, Taman said. Luck played a part, Kythar agreed. But I watched the battle recordings. What you did required more than luck. It required courage, creativity, and the willingness to do whatever was necessary to survive. The ambassador paused. These are rare qualities in the galaxy. Ambassador, I have many questions, Taman said. You mentioned a council. You said we were under observation. What does all that mean? Of course. You deserve answers. May we speak privately? Taman looked at his crew. They were exhausted but curious. He nodded to Yunji. You have the bridge. Get those repairs finished. I'll be in the briefing room with the ambassador. In the small briefing room, Kythar explained everything. The Council of Aligned Worlds was a coalition of 43 species that had banded together for mutual protection and trade. They had been monitoring Earth's radio transmissions for decades, watching as humanity developed space travel. We have protocols for contacting new species, Kythar explained. We wait until they develop faster than light travel on their own. Then we make formal contact and invite them to join the Council. You were months away from that invitation. Why wait? Taman asked. Because species that reach space on their own are more likely to be ready for the truth about the galaxy. Those who are given technology before they're ready often struggle with the responsibility. And the Vryn? Kythar's expression darkened. The Vryn Collective rejected Council membership 2 centuries ago. They prefer to operate as pirates and raiders preying on weaker species. The Council tolerates them because they stay in unclaimed space and usually only attack non-member species. But they attacked us. Yes, and that was a violation. You were under Council observation, which grants you certain protections. The Vryn either didn't know this or didn't care. Taman processed this information. So what happens now? Now, Captain, I extend an official invitation. The Council would like to invite humanity to join as full members. Normally there would be a probationary period lasting years or even decades. But given what you've demonstrated here, the Council leadership has authorized me to skip that period entirely. Because we fought well? Because you showed us something we've forgotten, Kethar said quietly. Most Council species reached space through peaceful evolution. We encountered other civilizations through careful, regulated contact. We have rules for everything, including war. Those rules make us civilized, but they also make us weak. The ambassador walked to the window, looking out at the asteroid field and the wreckage of Vryn ships. You humans are different. Your history is one of constant struggle. You fight wars. You overcome impossible odds. You refuse to give up even when surrender would be the logical choice. Kethar turned back to Taman. The galaxy needs that strength. We need species who remember what it means to truly fight for survival. You're saying you want us because we're good at killing? Taman felt sick at the thought. No, Kethar said firmly. I want you because you know when to fight and when to show mercy. You could have left the Vryn survivors to die in space. Instead, you rescued them and treated their wounds. You are warriors and healers. That combination is extremely rare. Taman thought about his crew, about Hana treating enemy wounded without question, about Yunji risking the ship to save everyone on board, about Doyen using weapons he hoped never to fire, about all of them doing what was necessary and no more. I can't speak for all humanity, Taman said, but personally I'd welcome the chance to join the Council. We have a lot to learn about the galaxy, and the galaxy has much to learn from you, Kethar replied. I will escort your ship back to Earth. Once we arrive, formal negotiations can begin. Over the next few hours, the Council ships helped the Horizons Gate complete its repairs. Pelthian engineers worked alongside Yunji and her team, sharing technology and techniques. The humans learned fast, asking questions and understanding concepts that should have taken weeks to grasp. In the medical bay, Hana worked with a Pelthian doctor named Thys. They treated both human and Vryn patients together, and Thys was impressed by Hana's skill and compassion. You would make an excellent addition to the Council Medical Corps, Thys told her. Hana smiled tiredly. Right now, I'd settle for a day without anyone getting injured. On the bridge, Taman prepared his final log entry before they jumped to Earth. Captain's log, stardate 2347.8. The Horizons Gate has survived first contact with alien life. We encountered the Vryn Collective, a hostile species that attacked us without provocation. In the ensuing battles, we destroyed or disabled 37 enemy warships. He paused, thinking about what to say next. We also learned we're not alone in the universe. The Council of Aligned Worlds has offered humanity membership. I believe this is a great opportunity for our species, but it also comes with responsibility. The galaxy will judge all humans based on what they see from us. Another pause. We didn't win today because we were stronger or smarter than our enemies. We won because we refused to give up. Because we used every tool we had, every trick we could think of. Because when they expected us to surrender, we chose to fight instead. Taman looked around his damaged bridge, at his exhausted crew. I'm proud of everyone who served on this ship today. They performed their duties with courage and skill. Some of them are injured, all of them are tired. But they never gave up, and that made all the difference. He ended the log entry and stood up. Mina, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we're coming home and we're bringing guests. Yes, sir. The Horizons Gate and its Council escort jumped toward Earth. The journey would take 3 days, time enough for the crew to rest and recover, time enough to process everything that had happened. In his quarters, Taman lay on his bed and stared at the ceiling. He thought about the battle, about the choices he had made. Had he done the right thing? Could he have saved more lives by surrendering? But deep down, he knew the answer. The Vryn had attacked them. They had tried to enslave them. And humans didn't surrender to slavers, not without a fight. He thought about Ambassador Kethar's words. The galaxy needed species who remembered how to fight. But Taman hoped humanity would be more than just warriors. He hoped they would be explorers, scientists, and diplomats too. 3 days later, the Horizons Gate arrived at Earth. News of their encounter had spread, and millions watched as the damaged exploration ship limped into orbit, accompanied by 12 alien vessels. Taman stood on the bridge as Earth Command contacted them. Horizons Gate, this is Command. Welcome home. You've done humanity proud. Thank you, Command. Permission to dock? Permission granted. And Captain Park? The whole planet wants to hear your story. Taman smiled slightly. Tell them it's simple. Some aliens thought attacking a human starship would be easy. We taught them otherwise. As the Horizon's gate descended toward Earth, Taman made one final log entry. Today marks the beginning of a new era for humanity. We're no longer alone in the universe. We're no longer isolated on our single world. We're part of something larger now, something amazing and terrifying. The Vryn learned an important lesson today. They learned that humans don't quit. They learned that we fight with everything we have when our survival is at stake. They learned that underestimating us is a fatal mistake. But I hope the galaxy learns something else about us too. I hope they learn that we're more than just fighters. We're explorers who reach for the stars. We're scientists who seek to understand the universe. We're doctors who heal the sick, even our enemies. We're human, and that means something. Taman ended the recording and looked out at Earth growing larger in the view screen. Home. They had made it home. Behind them in deep space, the Vryn Collective issued orders to all their ships. New protocols were added to their databases. New warnings were programmed into their systems. Species human origin Earth, threat level extreme. Recommendation, avoid contact. If contact unavoidable, exercise maximum caution. Do not engage unless absolutely necessary. The Vryn had learned their lesson. They thought attacking a human starship would be easy. None of them lived to regret their mistake. But those who survived spread the word, and that word traveled faster than light itself. Humans were not prey. They were predators, and the galaxy would never forget it. Across the stars, in the chambers of the Council of Aligned Worlds, the members gathered to discuss Earth's application for membership. Some were worried about adding such a warlike species. Others were excited about the possibilities. Ambassador Kethar addressed the council. I have seen what humans can do when pushed to their limits. They are fierce, creative, and absolutely refuse to give up. But I have also seen their compassion. They rescued their enemies. They treated wounds without asking whose side the injured were on. I believe humanity will be a valuable addition to our council. They will remind us what we've forgotten. They will show us that strength and compassion are not opposites, but partners. I recommend we welcome them with open arms. The vote was unanimous. Humanity was invited to join the Council of Aligned Worlds as full members. On Earth, celebrations erupted. Humanity had reached for the stars and found not just new worlds, but new friends, new challenges, and a place in the galactic community. And it had all started with one ship, one crew, and one captain who refused to surrender. Captain Taman Park stood at the window of his hospital room, recovering from his injuries. He watched the news broadcasts showing celebrations around the world. People were happy, excited about the future. He hoped they were ready for what was coming. The galaxy was vast and dangerous. Humanity would face many challenges in the years ahead, but he believed they would meet those challenges the same way the crew of the Horizon's Gate had met the Vryn, with courage, creativity, and the absolute refusal to quit. Because that's what humans do. They survive. They adapt. They overcome. And they never ever give up.